I think really the biggest bit of trouble should be on the shoulders of every Canadian men's national team player that was involved in that match, and John Hogan.
Yeah.
Well, everybody who contributed to that game, because that was when you go to the World Cup and you play Belgium and put them to the brink, you play Morocco, Croatia, two of the biggest stories in the World Cup, and then you go up against a team that not only are they unranked, they aren't a part of FIFA. This is not even a country who can compete in the World Cup. Never mind that can even try or be ranked. They aren't even in FIFA. And you're going out there, and yes, there were no other than Vittoria and Borjan, European-based players starting in this lineup for Canada. But you're at a point now as a federation that you need to get results better than this. You should be going into, like you said, Caroline, this is a home match in Toronto. And the weather wasn't great. It fits all into the Canadians' hands. And you sit there, you allow the first goal of the game, and you allow the draw on an own goal set piece from Guadeloupe. What are we doing?
No, I mean, I agree because, and we mentioned this after Canada lost to the US in the Nations League final, right? Obviously, they're taking on a much higher caliber team in the US. Still a poor performance from the Canadians, but then you assume that they're going to regroup, come back onto home soil with the Gold Cup. It's not their A team, but still a really good B team that should have beaten a team that's unranked in the world that can't compete, like you said, Brett, in the World Cup. And the standard for me in my mind has always been that game against Belgium. We saw the Canadians work hard, fight hard, string together a lot of great passes, have chances. You know, there was quality in that game. That was a game where I watched and I said, oh my goodness, Canada just showed the entire world that they can come into these tournaments and compete. And unfortunately, and again, this is nothing against how Canada played in the World Cup, but since that game, they weren't able to reach that level. You know, Croatia, I said, took them down a peg. Morocco wasn't the best game. And coming out of that tournament where they gained so much experience, they gained so much, you know, ability to play with each other as a team, which is so important. We haven't seen them build on that Belgium performance. And that's what scares me. It's like we're stagnant, if not taking a few steps backwards, because in my honest opinion, and I say this respectfully, Canada, one, needed to win, and two, that goal that happened, that Guadeloupe scored, can never happen.
Oh.
I understand international games, you know, can go one of two ways and things happen, but that was a terrible, terrible breakdown with experienced players around the ball. You know, Borjan, I think, could have been better on that save too. I know he slipped, but the ball's right there. It was just such a bad breakdown against a team that respectfully shouldn't have an opportunity to split our back line and have these little like cheeky passes around our back line. So it's tough for me because Belgium we were all watching that game at our, you know, Canada Watch Live party for the World Cup. And we were so excited. And I just haven't felt that since the Belgium game. And of course, Canada had that moment, you know, where we scored our first ever World Cup goal against Croatia. So there's been moments, but consistently as a team from a high level performance. I mean, maybe it's just me, but have you guys seen it since the Belgium game? Or maybe like, you know, like I just haven't.
No.
No. There's nothing that's really excited me, like play-wise from Canada. There's nothing that's screaming me, oh, look at Canada, they're progressing. You know, it just feels very flat and stagnant. It's like it's not the same vibes when they were qualifying, for example. I know they were on a high at the time, but there hasn't been that high.